Casos y Pendejadas podcast.
So, I'm from New York City. I was born in Rochester, New York, but I was only in Rochester for roughly about 2 years of my life before we moved down to Brooklyn. I'm from Bushwick, which is not too far from Flatbush, right? So I grew up in a predominantly mixed community of just like people who help each other. And it's Brooklyn where you show support. You always like help your neighbor, have communication, and you stand. You learn how to fight early. So
Yeah, spread love is the Brooklyn way, right?
every single day. But it was something like that like always interests me was just like being a part of something and having something bigger to strive for. So always having goals and always overcoming obstacles is just like you have help from your community to do so. So sports was a big thing for us because you play in the street. You have football, basketball, soccer. You play everything. Tag, manhunt. Like you just have fun with the people that you hang out with, and of course your school friends. So um, I got to Houston because I work for this company and I do a lot of strategic planning for gyms. So right now I manage a $12 million portfolio for this company. I was lucky enough to get my MBA in finance from while I was on Team USA. They offered this program for gold medal athletes to pursue higher education after. So I got $150,000 scholarship that I used to get my MBA in finance. I used my basketball skills to get me my bachelor's in history. I use that for like, of course, the majority of the research that I do, and also like analytics. This helps me with like my MBA helps a lot. So I do some punching, but like in the real world,
But you use your head as well.
yeah, I do. I slip inside the ring to make sure I can use my head outside of it. So I had bronze. I was medically disqualified, so
Okay.
I fought. I got a bye because I was the number one fighter in the world. So they have these rankings, and when you get TKOs, you get additional points on your wins. So I found that little loophole out. So I was like, everybody's getting knocked out. I don't care. So yeah. So I was at St. John's. So I transferred from original. So long story. I go back to high school. I went to Bishop Loughlin High School. I was an Adidas All American. I don't even know if you saw like any of like the Showtime basketball documentaries, but I used to play for the Gauchos. Yeah, so those are some of my teammates. So the point guards, those were our point guards. I know Nisha Butler, I know Renee, I know Shannon, like those were our point guards. It's unfortunate. They should do one on like the guards in the post, like we'd make it, but they didn't do one on us, so they did one for the point guards, which was big. Me and Jamel worked together. We went to high school together. Me and Jamel graduated roughly around the same time. So, but he played for like the Knicks and the Spurs. I did not. I was Adidas All American. Then I went to George Mason, and I learned something very quickly about sports and the business of sports. So I transferred to instead of being the big fish in a little pond, I transferred to St. John's, and St. John's was terrible. And we were like number 300 in the rankings when I first got there. When I graduated, we were number 16 in the nation. This is the thing about team sports, right? Sometimes you don't feel like your team will drag you, right? And if you're a good team leader, you're able to help drag your teammates, inspire your teammates, help build people around you. Use each other as like legs to stand on. And that really opened up my eyes to like, okay, well, I think I can do this long term. I like basketball now again because originally it kind of like college basketball will steal your soul and your passion for like the sport because it becomes like a job and none of it's fun. And of course, all the kids that don't have the opportunity to have like a full scholarship hate you. really was a difference maker. And so, but my senior year, like, I don't know, I think it's because of my size. I was like a small, like forward, really small, especially in the Big East. Like, it was incredible. So I kept getting hurt, but I just would like play through it and like would not like let it phase me. So when I left as a senior, I was the number 5 rebounder in the nation. I was like quick off my feet, and I was like just like relentless. You know what I'm saying? Like just like, I mean, Dennis Rodman was my favorite player. Like I wore Jordans because Dennis Rodman's shoes were terrible. No, I just could not be a Knicks fan. They were not consistent enough for me. They didn't switch. It definitely was an issue in my household. My father's like, "How dare you be a Bulls fan in this house?" I'm like, I've never been to Chicago, but I love the Bulls.
That had to be hard. That had to be hard.
Yeah, they tried to stick me in a pair of Patrick Ewing's. Daddy, I can't go to school in these. I cannot.
You had the Ewings? I had Ewings too.
Yeah, my father tried. He tried. He was like, "You need a Patrick Ewing. He's great work ethic. He's Jamaican. You're a good guy." I was like, "Yeah, but Michael Jordan is from Brooklyn." So I was undrafted. So what happens in the WNBA is you're not allowed, like you don't put yourself into the draft. They select you to even go into the draft. So I was selected into the draft, but I didn't know anything about, and like to be fair, it's only recently that I've had a decent relationship with authority. So
we have a lot in common with that, I think.
Right? Yeah. So always a fighter in some way, shape, or form. So I really didn't want to talk to my coach after the season. I was like, "I'm done with you. I'm graduating." And she had like a bunch to say, and I really wasn't trying to hear it. I think looking back, I probably would have had that conversation, but I mean, the way that life works out, it works out the way it's supposed to. So overall, it worked out pretty well. But I ended up playing. So after graduation, the next day, I ended up working in New York Board of Trade in the marketing department. That's what I did. It wasn't a bad gig, but I could not. I'm not a. It's difficult to work in cubicles. Like that was a real shift for being an athlete. Yeah, and people in offices, they like to talk a lot and touch, and I'm like, please don't touch me and or talk to me. Like I just here to do this job to make this money, and
I'm not trying to be your friend.
Not at all. Afterwards, I'm gonna go play basketball with my friends and hang out. We're not gonna talk about you and the things that are happening in your life. Like, not interested. So that was a hard shift. So I got an agent. And it just so happened my agent was Teresa Witherspoon's agent. So my mentor really helped me a lot with like what to expect from overseas, what is an acceptable amount of pay, like conversation. And I got her to play on my West Fork team. So I mean that was pretty cool to have a living legend like work out with the team, but also like I was weak. Like I used to be kind of weak because I was a basketball player, so I didn't want to lift weights. I thought, what's the point, right? I want to be quick on my feet, and I don't want to lift. But she said you'll learn in the pros that if you don't lift weights, you're gonna get your neck broken. And I was in Italy and I got my neck broken. Man, I got put on my back. Michelle Snow.
Wait, do you mean literally or?
Yeah, no, I got put on my back. So I was guarding Swin Cash. She came off of a screen and I was running down the screen and like this invisible building came out of nowhere and I was flatline. I looked, one of those things you just like, you don't know what hit you, but you're like looking up, you're like, wait, what happened?
Why am I on the ground?
Yeah, somebody flipped the building.
Tell us about some of the teams that you played overseas, because you played for a number of different countries, right?
Yeah, so I guess I'll talk about my favorites. My first summer session, which is like, what usually people do if you don't get drafted, you go play somewhere, whether it's in Puerto Rico, Korea. There's another one, but I know those are the two that pay. So I played in Puerto Rico. I played for this team in Caguas. And so, of course, one of my teammates from St. John, she was like, "Yo, D, this team sucks. Yo, we need like someone down here who can play." So the coach called me, and literally the next day he sent me a ticket. When I got down there, I tried out, I dropped 30 in the game, so there's no way I don't make this team. So I make the team. We hang out. It's really dope. The weather's nice. The food is really good. The fruit's fresh. Like, I mean, mofongo in the morning. Like, I'm having a great time. And then, yeah, but at the same time, when like my senior year at St. John's, my father was dying. So he was dying of cancer. So every single like day was just like, oh, I don't know what's gonna happen today, right? So when I left for Puerto Rico, I asked him if it was okay, if it would be something that he's like, look, I'll be here when you get back. So mid-season, I just flew home to check on him to see how he was doing, and he wasn't doing too well. And then again, I asked him like, you okay? And he was like, I'm not gonna make it. So the tattoo I have on my back is my father. So I told him I would take him everywhere that I go. So I do. So he passed away while I was in Puerto Rico. So I had to come home. Not had to. I wanted to come home and get my sister, be with my mom. And I had to kind of, figure out everything because my brother is, so I'm the second in line. So he took care of everything. So I had to figure out finances for my mom, take care of the family business, kind of get all that situated. And then I left. So I came back in October, and I left to go to Austria in January and started that new season. Austria was cool. Once again, once you leave the country, you get to have so many different types of food. And like, I'm a true heavyweight. Like, I'm not like overweight. Like, this is what I weigh. Like, I'm just a big
That's what
person.
you walk around. Yeah.
In shape. Yeah.
I'm 6 feet, 200 pounds, and it's just what I weigh. But I eat.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, what is this? It used to give me a lot of trouble on Team USA when everyone's like dehydrating and cutting weight. I'm like, have you guys had these chips? Oh my God.
They were mad. They look at you mad, huh?
Oh man, like we were in Spain, I found these like Sunkist that had like real orange juice in them. Oh my goodness. So we had a team meeting. I pull up, guys, I got a 6-pack of these. You gotta try this.
Man, they're starving.
Starving and pissed, and I'm just like hydrated. I'm comfortable, and they're like, "Man, it sucks that you don't have to cut weight." I said, "Well, you can find a girl who's 260 pounds."
Yeah.
Is that how big some of the women were back over there?
Hey, listen, there's some of these girls that I'm the smallest heavyweight. I weigh the less, right?
Yeah,
they're big. Anybody. If she's shorter than me, she's wider than me.
Right.
If she's taller than me, she's thicker than me. So I'm over here fighting for my life. None of y'all getting past this round. Y'all gonna have to fight for your life at this point because I'm like a raccoon with my back against the wall. I'm gonna claw your eyes out.
Yeah.
Opportunity came up in Turkey to negotiate for more money, and it's just like, why not? We're not in the thick of the season, and plus, I hate this team.
You weren't down with Spain?
Yeah, no, it's not Spain. Spain was great. Like, Spain was nice. The food was really good. The team was trash. Like, everyone wanted to give me a hard time because I didn't speak Spanish, and I was like, I never said I spoke Spanish.
That wasn't in the contract.
Yeah, I could play basketball. That's what you signed up for. Me playing basketball, and I'm good for that. But yeah, no, and then we had like a bunch of issues, and then there was like this thing that kept happening by my house. Like, these SWAT stickers kept showing up, and like they were putting in front of my house. So I was like, oh, really? I don't want to be here. Well, yeah, because it was a town. I lived in this town, Bembibre, and it's a Providence of Leon. It's like up north in the sticks. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Which was cool because like, I got to see so much of Spain, and like a lot of the architecture is like from the 1500s, and it's pretty dope. The town had a community feel, minus me and this other girl. Everybody else was good. Had a great time, except for me and one other girl who had one thing in common, a very obvious thing. But So yeah, I was like, no, I kind of don't want to stay here. So my agent was really kind of pressing, just stay one more month so he could get paid. I was like, I'm not trying to end up on like some milk box, okay? Like this, I walk around here alone at night after practice.
Yeah.
There's no one else around. And of course, this mystery person who's doing this, we don't know what they look like.
Yeah.
So,
Or what they're capable of.
exactly. And in this
Yeah.
small town, I imagine it gets swept under the rug because I've only seen the police once.
No.
And
Yeah.
I've lived here for a couple months. Like,
So you're
yeah,
looking for a way out.
yeah. I'm like, oh, cool. There's an opportunity to leave. Yeah, I'll take it. And I left. So I went home and I was, of course, got to stay in shape because, you know, boxing and basketball are very different. If you don't keep playing basketball at that high intensity, you come in for your first tryout game or even like your physical and stuff, and you'll get sent back home. So all of it would be for nothing. So
Yeah.
I got hit where the Barclays is, right by that half mark.
Oh,
So before
yeah.
the Barclays was up officially, I got hit there. So I'm kind of the reason you have those lights, the lights above.
Right. No, I heard there were a lot of accidents that happened there in that intersection.
Yeah, it was the taxis. They load up. So I was crossing the street, and a taxi came outside of the yellow lines into oncoming traffic and cut back in. And when she cut back in, like she hit me.
Right.
This is going
And you
about,
were partially paralyzed, is that right?
yeah, like so I fractured my skull, dislocated my shoulder, my hip was messed up. But I was fine walking out of the hospital because my adrenaline was pumping. The next morning, I was finished, and I just was in physical therapy for roughly about a year. But I had a driver for 7 months because
Wow.
I was in a little bit of issues.
No, I can't imagine. Like that had to be really, and like think about the mental side of that too. Like your sports career.
Well, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of depression that I could talk about that I was able to overcome. Which I know some people don't, and I'm grateful for like my mom and my support circle of people who, like, I don't know, they believe anything's possible, right? If you keep your mind sharp, they believe anything's possible. And when you are in a bad situation, you need that more than anything else, people to believe that anything's possible. Even things that roughly aren't medically possible at the same, you know, at the point, at your current point. But I don't know. There was a lot of. I mean, I don't know. I talked to my mom about some things I probably have never talked to anybody else about when it was just the two of us. Um, and I imagine that was probably a really tough time for her because she had just lost her husband of 25 years, like 2 years ago, and now this was on the table that now she'd have to like possibly take care of me for the rest of my life. Um, and then of course you don't want to be a burden to the people that you love, and also I don't know. It's just there's things that come up, and if you're mentally, if you're strong, it doesn't seem like a big deal. But it's just like I wasn't there. You know what I mean? I was just
No,
like,
of course
oh, my
not.
fucking life sucks. Why is this happening to me? They should have hit somebody else. You know, like willing to
No.
sacrifice the lamb. Like, I don't want it to be me. I mean, but also like if it wasn't me, it would have been my mom because I had asked her if she was like gonna go inside, and I told her no, I'll go, because we had went to the gym together. She had her trainer, and then of course I went to go play basketball, so we went together. So she wanted to come, and I was like, no, stay in the car, because she moves too slow, and it seemed to work out, but yeah, no, yeah, yeah, that was yeah, I didn't think I was gonna be athletic again. But it doesn't mean like I'm not hard enough, I'm not hard headed enough to try. Like that's a guarantee I'd try. But this accident happened. My agent calls me. So you think you'll be ready for January? No, idiot. I cannot walk. Like, so does it mean you're done? You're gonna retire? I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me some time on that. I'll get back to you. Well, did you ever get back into basketball after that?
no. So like
No.
I tried to like play like pickup and I would play in the West Fourth, but it was just like a shadow of what I used to be. Like I just wasn't capable of doing much. But I applaud them for letting me like hang around. I got some cardio in, but I was nowhere near as good as I used to be. Like not even close. Especially like being around like other pro level basketball. So like Esses Carson, who was like won 2 WNBA championship with the Sparks. She was on my team. Mo Coca, Cappy Poindexter was on our team. Like the team was good. I got to start because of who I used to be, but I wasn't doing any of the stuff they were doing. I was over here just like Sean Kemp in like 2020. I heard you were good. Yeah, I used to be.
Yeah, it used to be. Check the film. So then, I've heard this from some boxing trainers. I don't know if you may have heard this, that if they were to pick an athlete to transfer to boxing, it would be basketball players. Have you ever heard that? Right. So how did that happen? How did your transition from, obviously from the accident recovery, but from basketball to boxing, like what brought that along?
Well, I mean, I just want to be in shape. Like, if someone was coming and I was like, I'm not trying to look like a piece of mess. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to look raggedy this summer, so I need to start doing some kind of cardio. But cardio is not fun. So boxing's fun. So there was a guy at my job that I worked with. His name was Mike Pastor, and Mike Pastor would fight in like the UFC. He's had like a couple Fury fights. And he was like, I'll do some mitts with you. And I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds like fun. So we started doing mitts, and he was like, you never boxed before? I was like, no. He's like, you've never boxed before? I was like, dude, I don't even know I don't know how to wrap my hands. I've never boxed before. So we're like hitting mitts, and he's like all excited. And I was like, I don't understand. I feel like if I look in the mirror, I'm terrible at this.
But you were a natural, apparently.
Well, I've had fights, but it's just like, it wasn't like there was any conditioning involved. Like if you stood in front of me, I was gonna punch you until you weren't there anymore. Like that was it. No strategy.
Yeah, so you're a natural. You just got the technique already.
I don't know what he saw, but he called his coach and he was like, Jose, I want you to work with, my friend Danielle. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. So I worked with Jose, but he had a bad hip. So a lot of like, I move a lot, and I move quite a bit, sometimes for no reason. And he was like, man, you got to stay still and fight. I was like, no, I don't want you to hit me. So I'm going to move away. So he's like, I think you might be needing another coach because you need someone who's going to be a little bit more mobile. I'm not going to be able to give you exactly what you need. You should go to Gleason's. And I was like, it's far from my house. So I ended up going to this gym called, it's like the X boxing gym. And it's like around the corner from my house. And then I stumbled upon the Serrano sisters. I didn't know who they were. And I started training with Jordan. And Jordan was like, yeah, you're a big girl. We can get you some fights overseas. He's talking about going pro. And I was like, bro, I have 0 fights. Like he was like, you have no fights? I was like, yeah, none, 0 fights. He goes, well, let me give you a piece of advice. When you call a gym and you've never fought before, you don't ask for sparring. I was like, rookie move, dude. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. You
asked for sparring?
I figure, why not, right?
Wow. All right. Wow. See, that's that competitive streak that you have in you.
I feel there's a lot of it is ignorance. You don't know what sparring is. You know what I mean? You figure it'll be like touch, kind of fun, like not for real. Like now.
Oh, so you didn't know what you were getting into.
I had no idea. I had no idea what I was asking for. So they hooked me up with John Meekins. He was like a bronze medalist, and we sparred.
Whoa.
He was like,
So
"Yeah,
you fought as man in the ring.
I've only sparred men in the ring until I got to Team USA. I mean, well, Sonia Lamanakis, but she didn't like that, so we didn't do that much."
Wow. And how was that experience for you? Like doing the sparring for the first time?
Oh man, he hit me with this wild uppercut. I mean, split the bottom open. I was bleeding everywhere. He was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I was like, "Get out of here. You threw that punch with intention. There was no way that you didn't think that this was going to be the outcome. So, like, don't feel bad." He was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, my nose is bloody, but I've had better elbows than that. Like, so it's okay." It's all right. And like me and him became cool. So I worked with Jordan and Cindy and Amanda, and I was there for maybe like 2 months, 3 months training with them. They're great. Like Cindy, I mean, it's crazy to see, like, because I used to talk about them all the time. And I was like, nah, you guys are going to see, like, Amanda's the real deal.
Yeah, she's become pretty successful.
Yeah, but I mean, it's been a hard grind for them. They've been really trying to dig
wow.
44 fights.
Yeah.
Think about another female that can form a sentence that's had 44 pro fights.
I don't know many. Yeah.
0. Like everyone else is sitting maybe at 21. Everyone up that's 12, 7. Like 44 fights. Where you find these people? Where you find 44 people to fight?
Right.
Yeah, there's not a lot of female fighters. In your heavyweight class, there's not too many fighters either, right?
No, I'm probably gonna win the belt and then figure out if probably go down to 75.
Oh,
yeah.
so you think about going down a division?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. So, I don't know why matchmakers can't make matches outside of the U.S. because there's a couple girls from New Zealand that I definitely want to fight because they keep labeling them as number 1, and I feel like
I saw the rankings. Am I right or am I wrong? Do they not eat? Because I checked the box rec heavyweight rankings for women. Mm-hmm. Do they have Monica Harrison higher than you right now? I think they do. They got something wrong because you just beat her twice. There you are giving her a taste of your medicine right now. And I was looking at box rec. I couldn't find. I can find you as a heavyweight, but when I look at the rankings, I couldn't find you. And then they have. I don't know if they have it right on box rec.
Well, I'm active. After.
Oh, right now, okay.
Yeah. So once I go active again, I'll shoot to the top of the ranking.
Right. Okay. Now, what is the female heavyweight champion's name? I couldn't pronounce her name.
Right. There was a lady from Mexico, and she lost her belt because of a.
No, that's Jimenez.
Yeah.
She fought heavyweight, and then she fought, I think, Martha Salazar to take Martha Salazar's belt. So Jimenez dropped down to 68 to fight Franchon. And when she fought Franchon, I mean, this is, of course, every belt fight. Everyone knows this. You get drug tested.
Mm-hmm.
Some cards just do it off the bat. Doesn't make a difference. You're going to get drug tested. And that's just it. They don't tell you, which they shouldn't have to. You shouldn't be on drugs.
Right.
But she was on drugs, and she failed her drug test. Therefore, the WBC wasn't going to strip her of. I don't understand what was going on. So, at some point, they made the decision to go forward and strip her of the belt, but they weren't going to return it back to Franchon. Mm-hmm. They were like, "You lost." She's like, "She lost to someone who cheated, so she should get her belts back." And once they gave her the belts back, she's back to being the champion. But I've called out Jimenez a bunch of times. I'm like, you don't have to lose any weight to fight me. You can show up 240, 220. I don't care. I won't even put a weight on the bout sheet. You can show up 300 pounds. Wouldn't make a difference to me. Like, show up what it is. It doesn't make a difference. I don't care. As long as you're in the category of heavyweight, be 176. Still doesn't matter to me. You know, at the end of the day, I'd love to fight her because like what she did to Fran Shawn, I owe her a quality ass whooping.
Wow.
Man, I'm all for it. Let's go. Who do we got to call? Let's make this happen, right?
His name is Pepe. He like handles all the fighters the prize fighters down in Mexico, females anyway.
Okay. Yeah. When do you anticipate your next fight?
Trying to get on the Clarissa Shields card on June 3rd.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You know her, right?
We have the same manager. Technically, yes, we know each other. Are we super close? No. And has nothing to do with anything other than like proximity. Like she left Team USA the year I came on Team USA. And for like 3-4 years, we kept crossing, like just missing each other. Like I'd come up to camp, like, we just missed Clarissa. I'm like, dang, like I can never catch this girl.
Yeah.
And the first time we actually met, was actually on her first pay-per-view card. She sent me a voicemail. She was like, hey, do you know any other girls on the card? Because I only know you. And I was just like, oh, I didn't know we
knew each other.
Yeah, right. But Clarissa actually has looked out for me a couple of times, and I didn't know it until people told me, like, yeah, Clarissa told me to take a look at you. Oh, Clarissa. I was like, dang. So, yeah, anybody that ever wants to talk shit about Clarissa, I'll beat them up. You don't have to worry about her.
No, she's been a big advocate for the sport, the women's boxing. So
no, she really is, and I know that originally she wasn't as polished as people wanted, but I feel like male fighters get away with that all the time. Like the expectation of female boxers is kind of strange because you want someone to get in the ring and be able to like handle somebody physically, but be this dainty ballerina outside of it. Like the girl fights, she's a fighter. Like what do you expect? But someone ready to like chew your head off if you say something disrespectful.
They're a different breed. Fighters are like, I mean, yeah, I get it, and what you're saying is very true. Like it's hard. You can't expect that someone who has to deal with that to always be like the most civil, right? So
Daniela, I have one. Why you've had 3 fights? You fought Monica Harrison, then we just saw you demolish Princess Harrison. And then you fought Monica Harrison again. Why? I saw both fights. To me, it looked like you handled her pretty good. Here you are handling her pretty good. Why did they make you fight her twice?
I applaud Monica for stepping into the ring twice. Everyone else, literally, they view the fight the same way. But I was kind of disappointed with the first for my debut. And so I was like, yeah, let's run it back. Okay, so it was you. Do you would you feel like you didn't do enough? You wanted to give her some more pain or what? I felt like, my shots. Well, I mean, I don't know. If I had to hang out with somebody who criticized me the way that I criticize myself, I would never spend any time with them. I'll tell you that. You weren't satisfied. I was like, that was terrible. People are like, that wasn't that bad. I said, wasn't that bad? It's not good enough. That's not impressive. That's kind of like just disgusting. I was like, I'm a world champion. I need to present and show. I need to pitch a shutout. And she hit me like 4 times, which is absolutely unacceptable. So you wiped the floor with her, and then you fought her again. You wiping the floor with her again, but you did it in more impressive fashion. But wow, so that was you.
Like, that ass whooping wasn't good enough. I need to do it.
It wasn't that. I felt like she like really I don't know. I feel like you can say, oh, that girl can fight. Right? That's what you would say if you saw that fight. You're like, oh, she's big, but she's not just like rushing in. It doesn't look like a new, it's a no pro. It looks a little seasoned. She could. It's okay. No, I don't want that. I want to pitch a shutout. I want to exhaust you. I am a boxer, so I want to box you out. Like just box you, make you miss, make you pay. Tax counterattacks tack on angles, you know. But there's a couple of things also I needed to clean up on this fight. Once I like watched it, I was like, because I don't watch it, you know, on like the next day. I give it like 2 weeks and I go back and watch it. And once I go back and watch it, I can go, okay, these are the things that I'm
right.
do.
So you like to go over your own tape and look for those areas of improvement. Man.
How do you?
And I gotta say, I'm a big fan of your style. I like the stick and move. You're really slick in there.
Let me kick.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I gotta go. No.
Bro, we should put up some of that footage.
Yeah, what we're gonna ask her if we can right now.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Be outside. Yeah. Sorry.
Poor Monica, you gave Monica the business, man.
Yeah, again, I love the stick and move style that you have. It's really impressive, especially, you know, you could see the footwork, you know, that comes in play with your basketball background. Do you follow, what are some of the boxers that you follow in sport currently?
Oh, so I was training at Jay Prince, so I like love to steal Shakur's stuff. Like I watch because he's a southpaw, so I like steal
Houston
his warm up, and I love to steal his stuff. Like he has like a couple moves that I just like use. I didn't ask him for it, but you know,
that's
like,
stealing.
So I take stuff from Shakur. I watched Jared spar a bunch, and now that he switched to southpaw, like Jared and one of my stablemates, they spar all the time. So I watch Jared spar, and I'm like, ooh, I like that. He also is a volume puncher, which I consider myself to be a volume puncher. But Shakur has this thing that my next fight I'm going to use a bunch with the way that he kind of handles distance. I like that a lot. Also Earl. I love Earl's body punching, and so I like watch a lot of Earl's stuff, but like some of his old fights, because thing with like Earl earlier, he didn't mind putting himself in danger to get to the body early, which I feel like I can kind of get away from because I can handle, because women don't punch as hard, so I can put myself in that a little pocket of danger and like handle body work, and like I want to get somebody out of there with a body shot. Like I thirst for that. And then like Canelo's like diversion punch, where it looks like it's gonna be a body shot, but then it
goes up top.
Yeah, so
that's nice, right?
Yeah, me and my coach have actually been working on that. I hope nobody that's ever gonna fight me listens to this, because they're like, hell no.
We can edit it.
Yeah, right. Hit it with the not gonna fight this chick. She's got a plan. She's gonna ruin my kidneys. And the answer is yes, I am.
So you mentioned Earl real quick, and I know people are kind of tired of talking about it. I'm still holding out hope that him and Bud Crawford are gonna throw down. Sounds like there's a possibility it might go. Who do you like in that fight?
So it's kind of tough for me, because I know that Bud gets hit a lot, right? But he's tough and he wrestles. So I feel like what's gonna happen in this fight is Earl's gonna try to get to the body, and then he's just gonna get smothered by Bud. Like Earl's gonna try to come in, and it's just gonna be one of those really ugly fights where he's gonna do things like in the clinch that's gonna really frustrate Earl. Because Earl picks up the fight after round 4. He does like all his assessment work in round 1, 2, and 3, and then round 4 the volume starts to pick up tremendously. Right. Everybody knows that. So what if Bud comes out and he just attacks from round 1, just starts putting in the volume in early, so he steals those rounds and then like smothers him for the next 5-6 rounds, and then comes back with the volume. Like that's the game plan I would have to beat Earl.
Yeah, interesting. I see potentially Bud using movement to frustrate Earl, because I haven't really seen Earl, and I know he can cut off the ring, but I haven't seen someone try to move on him in a while. And There's one fight that I have in mind that I think Bud would kind of use that same game plan, and it was against Postal. I don't know if you remember when he fought Victor Postal. He just moved around the ring. He just used the four corners, and he would pop Postal. He would stop, pop, pivot, and move, switch directions on him. And he dropped Postal several times in that fight, but it was not very entertaining.
Yeah.
I think I like your smothering tactic too, because I know that Bud's really strong. He's like a really strong guy for 147.
He's a wrestler.
Yeah, and he like he was a successful like high school wrestler. Right? He went to state or something like that.
Yeah.
So he knows his stuff. I think if there was an MMA fighter or a boxer that could make that transition to MMA, Bud would be really successful at that. But he's really quick on his feet. I mean, that was at 140 and it was a long time ago, but I think I could see him use that tactic as well.
I mean, that could be the volume. That could be that volume that he uses to frustrate Earl and really kind of put him in a position where he has to kind of figure it out, right?
Right.
Yeah, and once you figure it out in round 4, oh, great, now I'm going to smother you. Now you don't get that space back. So that would be interesting. I think the thing about it is there's a way to beat Earl, but I also think, like, how does Earl beat Bud?
So both of you have Bud winning?
I feel like Bud puts a lot of pressure on Earl in a way that he's never had to deal with before, because I think, all right, so Sean Porter does a lot to bring the fight to you. And I feel like that was a turning point for Earl, right? When everyone saw that Earl fought and beat Sean Porter, he dropped him, and it was at round 11.
11, yeah.
So he drops him in round 11, and like that's a big. This dog is bananas, I can tell you. So he drops him.
That's good. We can hear you.
So he drops him around 11, but the whole fight was like, Porter coming right to Earl, right?
He did take the fight to him.
He has to, right? And also like Porter's smaller, but
really strong.
No, he's strong. I mean, listen, I'm not taking it. The first time I ever saw Sean Porter, I was in Gleason's, and he came over from Jersey to help Kid Chocolate get ready for a fight. I think he was fighting on a Beehive.
Oh yeah, I remember Kid Chocolate.
So the first time I saw him, I asked him, because I've never been to a training camp before. So I was like, why do you have 4 different people sparring? Like, why is that even necessary? Like, what's the point of it? And but then, of course, they were running their own clock instead of, using the bell at the gym. And nobody was there but me and my coach. And we were like doing like, dumb beginner stuff like on the ladder. So it was like we didn't even need the bell, but they were running their own clock. And I had so many questions for him. I was like, this is so strange. Like, from what I see that people normally do at the gym and what you're doing. Why are you doing this? He goes, well, some rounds are 5 minutes, some rounds are 4 minutes. I cut the rest. Yeah, he was doing some, like, I don't know who he was fighting, but I remember Sean Porter and thinking, like, this dude's built like a knuckle. Like, this dude is like, he's like small and like compact, and it just seemed like he was wound tight, and like he threw hooks like they didn't know each other. He threw hooks to take this man's absolute skull off of his shoulders, and they were like hugging after. I was like, you're not mad at him?
Yeah. That's boxing is so weird. Like no other sport is like that.
So I wasn't sure like what was going on, but also like I said, it was my first like witnessing a training camp, and I'm like, this is strange. These people are crazy.
Yeah.
So what other pro male fighters have you been like shared the gym with?
There's a lot of them.
Oh wow, okay. Well, some of the most notable ones then. Like some of the ones that remember, like the Sean Porter one, like sticks out to your mind. What are a couple others?
Yeah, I've been in training camp with Keyshawn, freaking Duke Reagan, Troy, Tiger, Shakur. A bunch of
And
guys.
you're always downloading some data, right? When you're watching these guys too.
Well, I mean, it's a lot to learn. Like you can take your gym time to like fool around and BS when your workout's done, because like they separate, majority of the time they separate the females and the males, unless like it's a big camp and we're all going to be working together. But majority of the time, Richard Torres. So like they're around, so I'm like, let me see how he does it, because I'm always watching people's feet, hand placement, how your defense, because their defense is so different than ours. Like, they have to have their defense on point, where I could be like, get that punch out of here. Right? Guys' defense is really different, and it's tight, and it's like, they're like constantly like, like they're hunting, like their hands are here and they're like looking around. I'm like, oh, that's a different defense. Let me see how you do that. Like, how are you gonna punch out of that? How are you gonna defend yourself really out of that? Like, what? Like, I'll watch like the first round, they just like get punched on. I was like, how are you establishing dominance like that? And it's like, oh, second round, oh, you were just pretty much getting timing down. Okay, but everyone does it, so they have like their own method that works for them. And so I try it. I see like, maybe if I can try some of this. Oh, I don't like this. Some of it's very uncomfortable. But everybody, I learn little things from everybody. Richard's under the impression that he can teach me to like learn to love running, and I'm like,
you don't like it? You're not, well, nobody who likes to run, right? It's kind of torturous.
Richard loves to run. Richard, listen, we go on a 6-mile run. Richard's in the front. He's in the front of the run, having a good time with no headphones on. He is running. As I'm in the back, and I'm like, oh, 6 miles ever.
But you gotta get that road work in, right?
Yeah, first thing in the morning, we take off, you do your run, you run around the lake, and then you come back and you eat your breakfast, and then it's time for boxing. Then you go lay down, have a couple hours, and then it's time for a lift.
Yeah, and this is every day, right? I mean, are you training every day?
Oh, no. That was Team USA. I don't have to live my life like that anymore.
You gotta make that weight no more. Right. But you still hit the road work a little bit, right? No?
Well, I mean, like, I'll run like 2-3 miles. I'm not gonna do 6 to 9 miles.
No, yeah, there's no need for that.
I didn't think there was any need for it then, but
back then.
Hear what I had to say.
Danielle, can anybody touch you in your division? I mean, do you feel anybody can touch you in your division at all? Are you that confident you're gonna be the heavyweight champ?
Oh yeah, no, I'm 100% confident I'm gonna be the heavyweight champ. The thing is, I look forward to someone being competitive in a fight. Like,
yeah,
like, I mean, think about it. I've been like muddled in the world more than once, so it's not a fluke that I can fight. But if you watch my fights as like an amateur, all of them are different. So if you come very competitive, I've been hit hard. I've had my jaw locked. I've been hurt in fights, but doesn't affect me from winning the fight. If the winning the fight is the objective, it's gonna happen. So if you step into the ring and now without headgear, no problem. Like you're gonna have to hit hard, and you also have to, come with this feeling in your heart that you're gonna be able to take my dreams away, and I don't think that's gonna happen.
You did have a lot of stoppages in your amateur career. That's pretty rare, right? Because the headgear and everything, and the size of the gloves, you had a lot of stoppages. So you've already knew you came with power. Now, 168, like you plan on going down. How far down do you plan on going?
75. I'm not going to 68. I told Franchon, I said, listen, I'll fight you at 75.
Wow. But you're a solid 200. And you don't see any issue or concern about dropping that weight.
Well, I got
because you're in shape.
Yeah, because I got down to last summer 187 fully hydrated. So
okay.
And I was sparring, running like no issues. So
you felt good.
Dehydrate those couple of pounds. That's 175.
Yeah. Wow. So you're looking for her.
Oh no, I love Franchon. It's just like this is business. I do. I love Franchon. Listen, same thing that stands for Clarissa stands for Franchon. Anyone say anything about Franchon, they're gonna have to fight me for. They don't have to worry about the hard-hitting diva. I definitely would make my case prior to her having to say anything. But no, I definitely would like to fight her. I feel like it would be a good fight.
You know, I gotta say, I have been slowly coming along with women's boxing lately, just because I keep hearing about the champions fighting champions, and you know, this person's always got to go, that kind of thing. And I've been really impressed with how the females they're out there seeking greatness, and they're doing it against the best in their division. And I really think men's boxing can take a lesson from that and do more of that, you know, instead of letting matchups marinate, you know, until they go stale. Yeah. You know, make it happen in the prime when everybody's at their best. Like, let's see it. Stop trying to let this thing cook on the back burner. You know, give the fans that excitement, that big fight that they're asking for when they want it. Because after a while, they're not going to be interested anymore, you know?
Yeah, like Wilder and Joshua, like no one wants to see that now. Right.
Like, it's kind of tainted. I mean, I honestly, I'm kind of a boxing junkie. I'd still want to see it, but the allure is kind of gone, right?
Well, you see how easy they're beaten. I mean, not Wilder. Wilder got
hard for days.
I feel like he's a lot tougher than Joshua, like by a lot. But Tyson Fury came back from COVID and put this man down. So I feel like Tyson Fury now finishes this fight on a different level. Also, like Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder, I feel like Deontay Wilder does a crossover and just hits him with the right hand, and the fight is over.
It's over, right? Yeah, I could see that too. What do you think of Usyk?
Yeah.
Oh, see, the thing about Usyk and Tyson Fury actually traveled the same path from like that cruiserweight division to heavyweight champion. And I think Usyk is like deceptive because, he's a little bit smaller, but the guy's like made out of nails or something. I don't know what his jaw's made out of, but I don't think Usyk. I know a lot of like Tyson Fury has problems with smaller guys.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
He has problems with smaller guys.
That might be good for Andy Ruiz.
True.
That might be good for Andy Ruiz if it happens.
Listen, if Ruiz actually trained as much as he posted online, that guy would be amazing. He has his footwork and his hand speed is incredible. First time I saw him on the mitts when Jarrell Miller fell out of the fight with Anthony Joshua, I was like, oh, this the guy they brought in for Anthony Joshua? I said, oh no. Ooh. This guy's is gonna hurt him. And then we're watching the fight. I was like, oh, I should have put my money down.
So you called it. You called it before it happened.
Well, because his hand speed really messed me up, and he's never fought. I mean, he was preparing to fight Jarrell Miller, and Jarrell Miller is slow. Like he's, the hamburger.
He's big.
Like he's big. He's big, but he's not quick.
No.
Wow, so he got surprised with that speed.
Yeah, he had crazy.
That's crazy. So she knows the inside because I mean. She saw the speed, and then she knows that he was preparing for a slow dude, and then he got caught up with a really fast cat. Wow, that's pretty cool.
You should have dropped the grip on that.
I should have dropped. I was like, man, because everyone was making fun of him. They were like, yeah, this fat guy. I said, it's not a bodybuilding contest.
Right.
The guy's a boxer, and obviously he boxes incredibly. They didn't call up somebody who was like, oh, have you ever boxed before? No. Would you like to fight Anthony Joshua for all the belts? No, this guy is been in the game for a long time. And if you know anything about boxing, you've seen his name a bunch. Like, I remember he fought Josh Parker. Yeah, I remember this guy. Yeah. So then when I looked him up, when I watched the open the media workouts, I was like, oh, I didn't know he was this fast.
Yo, I remember seeing him on a couple Top Rank cards and being impressed. Like, wow, look at this big boy throw down. It's like he was bald headed at the time, so it took me a while to put it together that was him. But I was like, yo, I've seen this guy fight before. I know he can throw. But I still expected Joshua to smash him.
I didn't think Joshua, because Joshua was put on a bunch of weight. He was too big. I mean, he's already kind of stiff. Like he fights like like a 10-man anyway. So all you need is someone to slip. And I was like, that's it. It's over.
I think what it was is I was really impressed with his win over Klitschko. Like that was an amazing fight. They both hit the canvas.
Like 85 years old. If you don't beat this
right, but he looked on his game that night. Like he looked like he had turned the dial back a little bit.
Well, and Klitschko hit him with an uppercut and sent him to the floor, and I was just like, "You gotta be kidding me! This is your coming of age. This is when you're supposed to be. This is the changing of the guard. How you let this man put you down?"
But he got up.
Yeah.
From that.
For $200 million, you better get up.
Yeah.
I was nevertheless, I was impressed. I got wiped up in it. But what might end up being the thing is, I think that fight might have, he was never kind of the same after that. Yeah. So that fight probably took something out of him. Even though he won. So just looking, hindsight, I kind of saw. For me, that was like, wow, this dude is gonna be the next thing. And then now I'm thinking about it, it's like, oh, he probably lost a piece of himself that night.
Yeah, the bottom piece of his chin.
You are funny. You got jokes too. You know what? There's an old saying in boxing: as the heavyweight division goes, boxing goes.
True.
I really hope you get your chance to.
Yeah, me too.
I do too.
To do that, because I believe you would be a very the world would just fall in love with you as a heavyweight champ.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
I think so.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Well, you got one fan here.
Two.
You got one big fan here.
Thanks, guys.
You got a happy guy here. Thank you very much. We've hit about an hour, guys. We're gonna cut it here, but we're gonna yeah. It flew by. We really would appreciate if you'd meet up with us next week. We're gonna do the Canelo pre-fight deal and talk about it. We'd love to have you. If you could, I mean, we'd really love to have you. So we really, once again, thank you so much, man. This is a big deal for us, really, like having you on here, and we really appreciated you, man. Getting to know you, you're really cool, funny as hell, very confident. And you really, really, I mean, there's boxers you talk to that don't know the sport the way you do. You really know the sport, and please bless us with your presence next week.
Oh, for
next Friday.
Oh, Friday? Yeah, that's
Thank
good.
you.
I'll be here.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks again for taking time out of your schedule for us.
Oh, thank you for the invite. I had a great time talking to you guys. This doesn't even feel like an interview.
Yeah, we're just hanging out.
They're talking, so it went great. We're gonna, chop this video up. We probably have enough to even do 2, and we'll send it to you so you can look at it before, just in case you see anything. We get so comfortable sometimes. You're like, whoa, did I say that? So review it, make sure you're cool with everything, and let us know. And we'll probably get that to you by Friday. I'm sorry, by Thursday, and then we'll know. You can tell us what to edit, and then we'll edit it over the weekend and get it up.
Oh, sounds good.
All right, thank you. We'll see you.
All right, guys.
See you next week. Bye.
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 Wow, bro, we be doing this for hey, what are you doing? I'm still on the show. They left me alone. Well, that was our interview with Danielle Perkins. This is Putazos y Pendejadas signing off. Peace.
Putazos y Pendejadas Podcast.